Thank you very much. It's kind of actually weird talking about myself, because I get to kind of speak and appear at various things with Mumbrella, but generally you're just introducing four clever people and asking them questions. So it's kind of actually a bit odd just talking. And when I was asked to sort of, or invited to speak around the theme of lying, and this idea of make it something personal, my first thought, despite being a journalist, was I can't actually think what I lie about. You weren't actually supposed to laugh at that point. You're supposed to come with it. But then it kind of dawned on me that there actually is something that I've been doing for years and years and genuinely not really thought that much about until I was really kind of sort of racking my brain about my own behaviour. And that's, there are various people who I see and recognise in the audience who I know, and you'll see why that's kind of amusing and ironic in a moment, which is that I have an absolutely appalling memory for faces, to the extent that, it actually is kind of a bit weird how bad it is. So the chances are that if we've met more than once, then the second time we met, I lied to you, because I pretended that I knew you, and I just didn't. Now, there is a word for it, and I have been like this for years. The word is prosopagnosia, which you can look up on Wikipedia, as I found myself doing this week in preparation for that. So I wouldn't exactly describe it as a condition I've been suffering with, as I wasn't aware what it was called until a week ago. But prosopagnosia is what it's called. So let me just give you a few examples of how it works. I've sat down and had lunch with a contact, one-on-one. A big formal lunch, just chatting. The very next day, I've introduced myself to him. This week, I was sitting down in a cafe, having a meeting with a member of staff. Guy kind of wandered up and stood at the table. Just momentarily, I mistook him for the waiter. Then I realised he was my personal trainer from the gym. There are so many kind of examples. A couple of other ones. This was a good one. I went to a friend's wedding, sat next to someone, and because I get really good at bluffing, just chatting away, didn't ask anything to give me away. It was only half an hour later that I processed it, realised I was talking to an ex-girlfriend. Couple more. Bumping into someone on a bus, and they smiled and nodded, and I kind of smiled and nodded, and then just kept going as quickly as I could. Then it was only later I realised the week before I'd been at a really good stag weekend with him. Or, again, playing poker with someone, you spend all night trying to read them, looking them in the eye, met him in the pub the next week, just didn't recognise him. So yeah, I'm told Wikipedia says that about one people in 40 have something like this, and it does eventually sink in. After I meet someone 3 or 4 times, eventually I do start, working out who they are and recognising them. So if some people are a 10 out of 10 for this, then I'm probably only a 7 out of 10. But the kind of the lies, the practice behaviour just becomes you condition yourself how you behave. Anyone I'm introduced to by somebody else, I'll always use the words, good to see you, just in case I have met them. And every single time that I fall for some reason I go wrong, I think, I can't have met them before, nice to meet you. Every single time, of course, I have. So, good to see you. One of the best things about moving to Australia, mate. That covers so much. And then when you're sort of playing for time, how are things? And that kind of gets you there as well. So yeah, it's one of those behaviours that, yeah, it's kind of, slightly sort of deceptive, I suppose. So again, when I was kind of sort of reading about this, I came across a really good quote from Oliver Sacks, the neurologist who describes himself of having prosopagnosia as well. His quote, people should perhaps out themselves. In the book, I tell a story, he's just written a book, or had written a book about it. I tell a story where a man goes to a physician and says he can't recognise people. And so his life has become a round of apology and offence. The matter must be aired. If people know you're face blind, then you don't have to apologise. So I think it probably is time to stop lying and out myself. I'm pleased to meet you again.